Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad you're all here to join together. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Jane Tipping and Paul Goudsmit, who will lead us in meditation. Then we're going to have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we'll open it up for sharing. We end at 10:45. Over to you, Jane and Paul.
Thank you.
So we're coming to you live from the Netherlands, but originally we're from Canada. We moved here 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've been working with the Course in Miracles and running a school called Inspirational Communication Unlimited, which focuses on the practical application of the principles of the Course. And we have many different workshops and trainings that we offer. And we love to do this kind of thing because we rarely plan it.
Well, there's that. But I mean, I have to say, we have seen every one of these people online before in
Yes, we
previous
have.
meditations. So it's nice to see you again. And all the best for 2025.
Yes, happy quarter of the millennium.
Right. But we do have a theme that we've thought about today, and it's based on our own personal experiences, thoughts and feelings.
Just recently, a couple months ago, in November, we took a trip to Canada for a couple of weeks. And I think for me, it had been 2 years. For Jane, it had been 1 year since she'd been there. And at the beginning, I think I need to fill in this part. And that was at the beginning of each school year that we offer. We ask everybody to have an intention about what it is that they'd like to use the year to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And although every year we protest about,
we say we're not
we're
going
not
to do
doing it this year, we still have to do it every year. And as you know about A Course in Miracles, the funny thing is this: if you want to experience trust, then the way to get there is to take a look at all the places that we don't.
And it's not consciously planned, I find. It's like the universe basically says, okay, that's your goal. Here, have this. Here's a nice little exercise for you.
So often I need to think about it for a week or two before I come up with what it is. Although this year it came to me immediately, and it was, I want to use this year to experience my defenselessness. And sure enough, I had many invitations to defend myself, my position, my ideas, my identity even.
When we went to Toronto. Yeah.
We've been doing this, as I said, for 30 years. And we started in Canada. So we have many, many friends and family actually in Canada that we've been doing this work with. And when we went to Canada this time, I was somewhat shocked. We were both somewhat shocked that half of our friends and family over there were very deeply on the right, thinking about, yes, okay, we've got this guy coming back into the US. He's going to be the president of peace and everything's going to be wonderful in the world. He's going to save us all. And I couldn't understand it myself. But I did my best to not engage and just be observant and be curious. It's difficult to be curious when people are talking to you about the flat earth, but at any rate, we stayed curious. And what I saw so clearly was that, it's hard to stay away from what's happening in the world these days, as much as we may try to remain at peace, regardless of what's going on around us. The invitation to engage in the ongoing play of what's being presented to us as we go along, whether it's the wars or
the climate,
or the politics or the religions or whatever it is. Every time I have a perception or take a position, I do so at the expense of my peace. And I must place myself in that position against everybody that's not in my position, basically. But what came really clear to me is that this play, this dynamic, this worldly presentation has been going on forever and ever. And we have two choices. We can either engage in it and be on stage and be part of the play, or we can remember what's actually going on behind the scenes. And, again, it doesn't matter which position we take, that position precludes everybody else that's not in it. Even if we follow the conspiracy theories that, politics has nothing to do with any of this stuff and it's all corporately run and whatever it is, it's all just an invitation to distract us.
And be on stage.
And be on stage and play a part as a distraction to what's actually going on behind the scenes. What's behind the camera? What's behind the curtain? That's the backdrop. And I think what's behind there that's been playing all along is a divine conspiracy. And the divine conspiracy, again, playing all along, involving everyone that's on the stage, whether they're conscious of it or not, is looking at ourselves where we are not in love with ourselves or not in love with someone else, where we are at war with ourselves or in conflict with ourselves, and healing that. And in healing that, we affect what happens on the stage. And that's the only way we can affect what's happening on the stage, is by taking full responsibility for our part in the play. So that's the thought we'd like to leave you with.
Right. Well, I'd just like to add just a couple of things, which is, what I see is a lot of people in distress, and I can certainly engage in that as well, with worry and concern and all of these things. And the truth is that the most powerful thing we can do is to stay positive. And as Paul's saying, step off the stage, believe in the divine conspiracy, be part of working for that, and keep our spirits up. Because depressed people, fearful people can be of no value in terms of working our way through this particular part of our evolution. If we are here on the planet right now, then on a soul level, we all chose to be here and we have a part to play. And I want to choose the part of love.
The old Chinese proverb says, may you live in interesting times.
Right.
Well, we certainly do.
Right.
And it's not for us to ignore it. Love's not going to ignore any of this. Love will engage, but only from a place of peace itself.
And truth.
Instead of taking a position, we can stand for truth, and we can stand for love, and be an example of that in whatever comes across our path. So
let's do the meditation.
Let's do the meditation.
Yeah.
How do we do this meditation? What I can suggest is, as a metaphor, all the things on the stage are twirling around like a wild tornado or hurricane. But if you seek the eye, where it's calm and it's sane and it's blue skies, you'll find it. And you're in the center of the hurricane, and all these thoughts and all these concerns and all the stuff on the stage is twirling around you. And you, from the center, you can take any piece of it and take a look at it and examine it, and then just put it back and it flies along. You don't have to be taken by the storm. We can sit and be the eye of the storm in our gentleness and in pure peace while the storm rages around us, and be of the most use, because we can be a harbor of peace. I'll leave you with that.
And so if you would like to make sure you're feeling comfortable, take a moment to close your eyes. Take a deep breath into your belly. Let it go with a sigh. And one more breath deeply in, letting everything your mind's preoccupied with, just letting it be. One more breath. Let it go. And we'll start the meditation.
open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 14 minutes left for sharing. If you'd like to share, raise your hand and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Who'd like to share? Norman, take yourself off mute.
Excuse me. Yes, thank you, Paul. You mentioned the hurricane, the quiet center of a hurricane. When I was younger, I was a radio officer on a ship called the Port Townsville for a time, and it ran out to Australia, which meant on the southern oceans they're called the Roaring Forties. So the typhoons would sort of come down from the warm tropics and wander in there. And as you say, the center of it was pure stillness and quiet. And the hurricane, as you say, the hurricane itself, the waters were very, very high and the wind was very, very strong. So we got in the middle of this, although the captain was very good and tried his best not to get into it, but we ended up in the middle of it anyway. And then of course we had to go through all that again to get out of it, to go where we were going. So I thought to myself, well, I can't tell people that, you can't stay in the quiet center all the time. What? And I asked for guidance on what to do, and it just wouldn't go away. And then the idea that I got was just stay in the quiet center. You don't have to go out. You're not on a dedicated route. You might lose a few days if you ever had to go through it again to get to where you're going. But just try stay in the quiet center and go wherever it takes you. So I thought, goodness me, I could never have thought that. And I said, well, how do I know we're going? The ego, of course, had a great battle, but it doesn't matter where it goes because I'm not tied to anything now. I can just go where you like, but stay in the quiet center. So that was a great relief for me. So thank you very much indeed.
It's brilliant, Norman. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to share anything?
Lottie.
Yes, thank you for the image of the hurricane and the quiet center. It was that was taking me into my meditation, and I was still there when I came out. Thank you, Norman, for bringing your experience to that, because I've never been in a hurricane. But it was a sense that all the possible anxieties and fears and pains that are around could all drift to the periphery and just stay in that quiet place. And it was beautiful, a real healing for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lottie.
Lovely, yes.
Paul, you were sharing about how you have to heal your thoughts, your feeling, your worries, anxiety. How do you do that?
Well, I guess the shortest way to explain it is any anxiety, any upset that I have, worry, is actually my cry for love. And so what it's asking for is loving attention. We've been trained to try and stay away from that. Or another way is to, if something hurts physically, we'll take a pill or go to the doctor. And I certainly don't promote not doing that. Yet You know, it's easy to love myself where I'm already in love. It's easy to love myself where I'm already a nice guy. But it's when I come across the guy that wants to defend his position, or the guy that's so worried about something that's going to happen to either somebody else or to myself. Uh, that's the one that needs the loving attention. And so, you know, with the work, as far as I can tell from, you know, what the course is inviting us to do, is to take all of those things one at a time, because they seem to only come up one at a time, and embrace them, and remain curious about it, because there's a message in there. There's always a message of love. And if I haven't seen the love yet, I haven't stayed with it long enough. So it's about taking the places where I hate myself and inviting that place to stay with me. It doesn't have to change. It doesn't have to do anything else. Just be, and it's okay. And I'll hold that little kid on my lap, and I'll give him loving attention. And he doesn't have to go anywhere, and I don't want to push him away. I just want to love him until he's back in a place of peace,
And knowing he's loved.
and knowing that he's loved.
I'd like to add something.
Please do.
So during the meditation, what came up for me was some of the philosophy from Ho'oponopono. But it's not just Ho'oponopono. It's you know, I think also the course talks about this, which is the outer world reflects our inner world. And so I think the first step is taking responsibility for where am I doing this? It might not look exactly the same, but where am I coming from, that same energy that wants to exclude or wants to be in control or thinks that she's right, and to really own it and say, okay, this, I choose something else. I choose something else because this isn't who I am. More comments, more.
Thank you. Who'd like to share? Hugh, take yourself off mute.
Hi, just before Christmas, my mother passed away, and I'm involved in my family and organizing the funeral arrangements. And this message comes at a very good time for me because there are many emotions and judgments coming up to be examined, and yes, just looking at the past and going through many things. So it does feel a bit like a hurricane. And I'm very thankful to Paul and Jane and for bringing this up and reminding me that there is this quiet place that is the place to go back to, whatever comes up. And, sorry.
No, I just said thank you.
Who'd like to share?
I'm not sure how many minutes we have left, but I would like to read just a very brief part of the lesson from the course that ties into this meditation.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it's lesson 185. You're probably all very familiar with it, but it's called I Want the Peace of God. We're just going to read 2 paragraphs, but I think they're quite powerful. I want the peace of God. To say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything. If you could but mean them for just an instant, there would be no further sorrow possible for you in any form, in any place or time. Heaven would be completely given back to full awareness, memory of God entirely restored, the resurrection of all creation fully recognized.
No one can mean these words and not be healed. He cannot play with dreams or think he is himself a dream. He cannot make a hell and think it real. He wants the peace of God, and it is given him. For that is all he wants, and that is all he will receive. Many have said these words, but few indeed have meant them. You have but to look upon the world you see around you to be sure how very few they are. The world would be completely changed should any two agree these words express the only thing they want. Two minds with one intent become so strong that what they will becomes the will of God.
So my suggestion is that we together in this moment, whether silently or out loud, just repeat, I want the peace of God. I want the peace of God. And so be it.
Thank you. That was beautiful. We have a little time left if anyone wants to share. B, take yourself off mute.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really beautiful. My lesson today is the stillness of the peace of God is mine. So that was really fitting. And the metaphor of the hurricane while I was meditating, it was really helpful to imagine myself being in that stillness, being in that presence, and then bit by bit just interacting with other people, and so they join that stillness, and one at a time that eye gets larger and the chaos gets pushed to the fringes, and we all get sucked in, but that stillness is always present and we can always come back to that. So it's not like the hurricane collapses in if we lose that stillness. It's always there to fall back into. So that was really beautiful.
I love that image because it's like it's building, what Paul was referring to as the divine conspiracy, that there is love all behind this, and so it can move outward instead of, as you're saying, the hurricane collapsing in. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Even a hurricane, if it expands outwards far enough, becomes just a gentle breeze. And I don't know about you, but especially if I was in Spain with Suleiman, yes?
Sabiman.
I'd be looking for a little breeze.
Who'd like to share? Dennis, take yourself off mute.
Years ago, there used to be a program on the radio, and it was called In Town Tonight. And all you heard was the noise of the traffic and aircraft, and someone had said, stop. And it all stopped and went quiet. When I get caught up in the world, I say to myself, stop, and go back to basics.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Sounds like you found your eye of the storm long ago.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Thank you, Jane and Paul. That was wonderful. Really beautiful. And take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Jane and Paul.
Thank you, Jane and Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Up the hearts.